Hello little buns, welcome back to my home. It has been roughly a month, if not more, since my last Q&A video, so I've decided it is time, and I've done something different this time. Instead of using Instagram to get my questions, I'm using Twitter. So I went through and I selected 11 questions that I would like to answer for you. I may not get to them all, we're gonna see how many I can fit, but there are 11 questions that I liked, and we're just gonna jump right in, okay? So we can save some time. Gonna skip all the bull, you know, I'm just gonna get right into the content. All right, let's go, let's start. Haley asks, are you a fan of Undertale? Undertale. I loved Undertale, it was amazing. When it crashed at the end, I'm not gonna spoil anything else, I thought it was the game crashing, and then I told my brother like, oh, I got so far and then it broke and it didn't save, like I forgot to, so you know, I messed up. But then, you know, what happens when you open the game after you crash it at the end, and so I was surprised pleasantly. It was a great story, interesting, like gender ambiguous protagonist, so really anybody can sort of project themselves onto the character. Really great game. Oh my god, the other characters too, aside from the protagonist, so cute, so much fun. Keith Reeves, like Christmas, asks, what would you tell school administrators about growing up trans? How did we fail you so we can do better? Very good question. Bathrooms are a big thing, okay? So my school in high school, I didn't come out as trans, but I definitely knew I wasn't comfortable in the boys' washroom. I told that to administrators. Their solution was to let me use the staff washroom. That is fine, because I didn't tell them I wanted to use the women's washroom because I didn't know that's what I wanted, okay? So if a trans student is at your school, make sure that they are comfortable and safe using the washroom of their gender, not their assigned gender at birth, okay? So if there's a trans girl, somebody like me at your school, and you are forcing them to use the men's washroom or even the staff washroom, that's not good enough, okay? And the men's washroom is absolutely not okay. The problem with putting them in the staff washroom is it makes them feel like they're being singled out, makes them feel like they are not part of the girls, because they are a part of the girls, and by taking them out of that and making them do something else, it allows other people to alienate them as well, because they see administrators putting them as a separate group, right? So try to just make sure that they are able to be integrated into the entire student body without being ostracized and hurt by their classmates. You can also bring in trans guest speakers like myself to hopefully educate your students on the importance of being kind to trans people, okay? I got a business email down there, you guys. Come on. Number one Bean asks, have you been have you become the very best that no one ever was? Not yet, no, I'm working on it. Serena/DJ Mix Doctor asks, how did you come up with terms like bread squad, little buns, and the like? So I have, I feel like I can teach people with this because it's really, okay. As a YouTuber, it's important you have a brand, and it's also important that your brand does not feel forced. So what ended up happening was, my original brand that I set up for myself was Stef from Final Fantasy, because I wanted to be like an anime character. And that didn't stick because it just wasn't natural feeling. So what ended up happening was I did a monthly favorites video, and the last favorite of my month was a baguette, and I just ate it whole on the camera. So my last favorite for this summer and for this video is actually bread. I think bread is a really great thing because you can eat it, or you can put things on it and eat it differently. You can also use it to hurt people because it's like pretty hard, especially when it gets stale. I also think it is great to walk around with, to eat it like a chop, you know. I find myself always going to the midnight grocery store when I go home from work, and I just buy a baguette. I just buy some bread every day, and then I eat it with like soup, or with cheese, or with like a nice vinaigrette, or just by itself like this, you know. I think bread's really great. I think it's awesome. And then somebody in the comments said, oh, we're the bread squad. It just happened, okay? And it organically took over, it became a thing, and that's where that came from. Little buns I made up as a response to it, but it still fit into the whole thing that had started and started as a natural organic thing. So that's the origin of Little Buns and the bread squad, okay? And Bread Mother. All from that video, and it started with you guys. Really, if you're a YouTuber and you're trying to build a brand, it's important that you listen to what your followers are saying and you can react to it instead of trying to enforce something on them. You know what I mean? That's a really important tip. Erica asks, how do you explain transgender to a little kid? And when you do, have they ever had an opinion about it? Okay, I want to point out, and I'm not sure, I don't want to be ignorant, okay? So I'm not, I'm not trying to enforce like English rules on you if English is not your first language. It's like, I'm just trying to explain a thing here. The way this sentence is structured, explain transgender to a little kid, it almost implies transgender is a concept, or like, it's like saying, how do you explain running to a little kid? Like it's a verb, like it's an action. and that's not the case. Transgender is an adjective, not an act or a noun, okay? So how do I explain transgender people to kids? Just wanted to put that out there because the language we use is very important in how people respond to us, okay? So when you say transgender people, it's important that you use it as an adjective and not a noun or a verb. How do I explain it to kids? I've never had to. Kids don't have any issues understanding it. There was an 8-year-old that I had met a long time ago, and I was meeting them again, like when they were 8. They were like 6 months old when I met them the first time, and they remembered me because I had been with them for a lot of their formative years, and my mom just told them, so Steph is a girl now, and they were like, okay, you don't have to explain it to kids. Kids will only question it if they've already been told that it's wrong in the first place. And if that's the case, I can't really tell you how to do it because I haven't had to explain it to somebody like that. So what I would say if you have a child that is very young, infant, never worry about it. Never imply that it's something weird, because then they're not going to have any trouble. And of course, as they get older, they're going to have other people telling them that it's weird. That's inevitable. You know, you are not the only person that your kid listens to, unfortunately, or fortunately in some cases. So just make sure that when they start questioning these kinds of things and when they bring it to you, that you respond in a way that normalizes trans people, and then you're not gonna have any issues. Shelby asks, what kinds of video game merch have you seen that you just fell in love with but did or did not get? I don't really buy much video game merch, unfortunately. I don't have a lot of surplus money to spend on things that I like. Unfortunately, I spend a lot of money on equipment for this kind of work and on food. And rent, and also my surgery fund. So I don't often get to buy merchandise, clothing, things like that. I have like 4 outfits for casual wear, that's it. The point is, I don't really buy merch, but I love anything from like a Blizzard game. StarCraft, Diablo, Warcraft, like Hearthstone even, it's kind of Warcraft, you know what I mean? Like I love those universes, I grew up with those universes, those are absolutely my favorite merchandise categories, you know what I mean? So anything from those I pretty much fall in love with instantly, but I don't get to have. I like merch that is practical and usable as an item in the house, right? So like coasters or something, not like a doll, you know what I mean? Or like, you know, like an action figure. Jay asks, would you ever write a book? I feel like I could. You know, like there's a lot of trans people that write books, and my experience is different from a lot of the books that I've seen, so I very well could in the future. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in, and maybe I'll start thinking about it. I've never had to think about it before. Jenny asks, which Pokemon would I be and why? I love Dragonair, and I would love to be a Dragonair, but in reality, I feel like I'm more of a Jigglypuff. I'm like a weird, awkward ball that nobody, you know, everybody that listens to me falls asleep. I know that's not real, but it's funny, okay? I like Jigglypuff too. Daniel Webster asks, would you make a gaming channel with one of your friends? Winky face. Daniel. And last question, Freya asks, who's your favorite artist or artists? I presume you're asking about musical artists. Right now, Anoni is a big one for me, a trans singer. She was formerly in a band, but her solo music is incredible. I also really like Benny Benassi's new album is really interesting if you're into that kind of music. MIA's new song is really great. Yeah, my taste is very diverse. The only music I don't listen to is country music, excluding Dolly Parton. She is an exception, okay? That is all the questions I had time for, but I really appreciate everybody that sent me questions on Twitter. If you want to have a chance to be in the next Q&A video, follow me on my social media below. Twitter and Instagram are usually the platforms that I ask on. Facebook possibly in the future as well, so just make sure you're following me on all 3 so you have a chance, okay? Thank you very much for coming to hang out with me. Until next time, just remember, you've got this. You are powerful and strong and capable and wonderful and beautiful, and I love you very much. Oh my gosh, I will see you again soon. Bye, I love you.